I want to show you how to create a stuffy, like a stuffed animal or some sort of stuffed design. So the first thing, of course, is to come up with your idea. The best way to do that is to sketch and then choose the idea you like the most. It's good to trace around the outside of your idea so you know what the outside is going to be. Then get two pieces of fabric about the same size and draw your design onto the fabric. You can do this with just pencil, or you can draw your design onto a piece of paper first so that it's the right size, and then cut out that pattern. It's like a pattern and that you're cutting out, and then you can lay that pattern on your paper and trace around it with some sort of pencil or marker or Sharpie. Then the part that you just drew is like that outside that you traced. But you want to leave some extra on the outside so that you can sew the two pieces together. So I encourage you to draw a bigger line, about 2 fingers thick, outside of your original line. Then make sure you have your two pieces laying together nicely and carefully cut out along the outermost line, not that inside line you drew first, but the outside line. Cut it along carefully so that your pieces of fabric don't fall apart and so that you have nice clean cut lines, keeping all of your fabric scraps off to the side. Now the fabric scraps can be recycled, so when you look at them, you can see that some of the edges are probably too small and nobody could use them. If they're smaller than your hand, you can cut them off and throw those parts away. But like these corner parts, they're bigger than my hand, so I'm going to put them in the scraps, the fabric scraps, so that somebody else could use them later. It is now time to begin sewing together, so choose a string. You could choose a string that seems to blend in, but I'm going to use this black string so it's easier for you to see on this video. Cut off a big length of string and thread the string through the needle. Now to do this project, you need to have your sewing license. Match up the two ends of that string, the thread, and tie a knot. Any way that you know how to tie a knot. I like to loop it like a fish, wrap it around and then pull that small tail through that circle loop you made. There's another way I like to do, which is to pinch the string with my finger and thumb, wrap it around a couple times and wiggle it off so it knots. And you can see that this has made the needle be on a round loop of the thread. So pull the knot to one end and the needle to another. Now it's your job to sew along that innermost line. I encourage you to just do the basic running stitch. The smaller the stitches, the better it will hold together. So down through the fabric and back up right along the line. Down through the fabric on that innermost line and then poke back up on that line. If you poke through and it's not in that line, don't pull it all the way, but poke again so that you make sure it's right on the line. Down through the fabric for the running stitch and back up. And you do this until you get to almost the end of the thread. You do not want to be at the very end of the thread. When you see that you have about 2 needle lengths of thread left, it is time to tie a knot. To tie a knot, you stick the needle through the fabric just a bit. And you pull the needle through, but not all the way. You want to leave a little circle piece like this. And then you put the needle through that circle piece and pull. That is one knot, but you want to do this at least 2 times and probably 3 or 4. So pull it through the thread just a little and pull it until there's a loop. Stick it through the loop and pull it tight over and over at least 2 times. And then cut it off, but not too close. You're going to repeat this until you've sewn almost all the way around your plushy pattern. Thread the needle, sew, tie a knot. Thread the needle, sew, tie a knot. But then, to make this a plushie, we have to put the stuffing, the fluffy part, inside. So you're going to want to leave a part of your pattern open. That way you can flip it inside out, and all of that extra edge and the sewing and the pencil marks or marker marks are on the inside. Stick your hand inside of the thing you sewn and poke out all the edges, especially if you made something like a unicorn with a horn. You're going to want to push out that horn part so that it sticks out nicely. You can use stuffing to stuff your plushie, but we don't have a lot of stuffing, so you can also just use recycle things like plastic bags or even crumpled up pieces of paper or newspaper, which would be much better and is a great way to protect the environment. Then we need to go back and close up that part that we hadn't sewn together yet. So you're going to thread a needle and tie a knot just like we did before. Now this time you can see that there's this part not sewn together, and we want to make sure those pieces go inside. So look underneath and you can see that original line you did, and if you want to, you can mark it again. Push all your stuffing inside and then fold the fabric so that the two pieces are now together inside, like they're touching each other, but the frayed edges are inside. And you're going to pinch those two folded edges together and do a running stitch. Through the bottom, down through the top, up through the bottom, down through the top. You're going to have to readjust that folding together as you go because there's no way you can hold it all. As you can see here, I readjust lots and lots to get to the end of my ice cream cone. And then once you reach the very end, which is kind of where you started sewing before, do that knot tying, just like we showed before. Just poke it through a little, pull it, and go through the loop of thread left 2 times at least, maybe 3 or 4. Now once you're done, this is your plushie. You can leave it just the way it is, or you can add decorations by sewing or embroidering on it. You could also get out markers to decorate it, or chalk, or something else from the drawing studio. You could even get out paint and paint all over your plushie to make it a design. I just do want you to know that when you paint on it or draw on it, it probably should not go in the washing machine because those colors will get washed out later. But this is how you make a plushie.